Hey guys, Wyatt Claypool here. Over the last 10 years of Canada having a liberal government, I think it's safe to say that the rest of the Western world has learned to take us not too seriously. We're like an 18-year-old in first year university in a model UN club when it comes to foreign policy. We say overly idealistic things and then do nothing real, and the world spins on without us. I have photographic proof that the West doesn't take Canada seriously. Check this out. This was a miniature summit that US President Donald Trump put on with European leaders, the commissioner of the EU, and the leader of NATO. And notice how there is no Canadian flag present, and Mark Carney is not sitting around the table with the other world leaders. And before anyone says, well, Canada's not a European country, that's why they weren't involved. Well, America was hosting it, and last time I checked, America is not in Europe. In a technical sense, the UK is not really part of Europe either. It's kind of its own thing. So, yeah, people will say, well, it's the America, they're very powerful, but why can't Canada be there? It's an event taking place right over the border. The leader of NATO is present. Canada is part of NATO, but we weren't invited or we, for some reason, didn't show up. Maybe we knew that we are completely worthless and we decided not to even bother by having them pull us up a chair. And I think this just goes to the fact that Canada isn't reliable when it comes to foreign issues. Our government reeks of unseriousness, and it's not just foreign policy, it's everything that Canada does. I want to cut over to a few examples in just a second here of just ways that Canada has completely dropped the ball when it has come to projecting strength, when it's come to projecting confidence in our culture and in sort of like what Canada is. But before I get into it, I just want to remind you guys that if you like the show, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are not yet a subscriber, and help me get to 100,000 subscribers by mid-December of this year, and leave a comment on what you think about the topic. If you think Canada's a serious country, feel free to drop your essay in the comment section below and have people tell you that you're wrong. And I like Canada. I'm Canadian, obviously, but like, what are we doing? Look at this tweet from CSIS Canada. CSIS, our intelligence agency. It says, back in June, CSIS launched its hashtag Pride Season celebrations with a few guest speakers. Thanks to the talented two-spirit hoop dancer Makian Runken-Gurian, the hilarious Canadian comedian Ava Val, and the inspirational public servant David Da Silva. And then what it goes on to say, for visiting, performing, and speaking at CSIS NHQ. Visit PS Pride Network for details on how to continue celebrating PSPW 2025 with activities through this week, Public Servant Pride Week, Public Service Pride. And it's like, oh my goodness. One, learn how to format a tweet. This photo should not exist. I probably don't need to tell you that, but the fact that this photo exists and it was posted by CSIS is embarrassing. Do you think even under Joe Biden did the CIA ever post something like this? I don't believe so. I don't believe any country's intelligence network would post something like this, and if they did, it would be a scandal and it would eventually be deleted. But not in Canada. We're a country where this is considered great foreign policy content, great intelligence content. Oh my goodness. But what's Carney doing of instead of attending this summit? Again, I don't care that we're not a European country. We are right over the border. It is a small drive from Ottawa to get to Washington to be a part of this. It's like a day's drive. If you're in Toronto, it's not even a day's drive. And we were not invited, or we for some reason didn't show up. Why? Because, I guess we're not really involved in the Russia-Ukraine thing. We've been giving Ukraine billions of dollars, and we can't get a flipping wooden chair at a table to just be seen there with everyone else. Macron's there. Nobody takes him seriously, but we take him seriously enough to let him sit in a room with people. My goodness. But we have Mark Carney sitting at a cottage with Doug Ford, with Ford rubbing his feet or something like that. I don't know what they're doing, but for some reason he keeps having Carney to his cottage to like curry favor. And then they had another meeting where, they like shook hands and sat down and looked serious while they talked about all the things that we have in common. One, Doug Ford's not a conservative. Guys, if you live in Ontario, please join the New Blue Party of Ontario. I'll even link in the description below and pin it at the top of the comments. They're great guys. I love working with them. I even flew out on my own expense in February just to hit as many doors for them as possible because I can't stand how feckless the PC party in Ontario is. And so they sit down and they speak about nothing. Nothing. It's like the fifth time they've met since Carney's become prime minister, and they keep meeting. And Carney's not at these other much more important events. He's gotten one meeting with Donald Trump, in which we never got a trade deal out of it, and he ended up looking really bad in front of his base of people because he's obviously not as elbows up as he says he is, although he kind of is because he keeps jumping. I don't even know where the guy's at these days. But I need to show you this thing that Mark Carney has posted on his own social media, or it might have been the Liberals, with him meeting with. So we don't get a meeting. We do not get the meeting with the other world leaders. But do you know that what Mark Carney secured? Mark Carney, in fact, secured a meeting with Tyler Watt. Yes, the Tyler Watt. Who is Tyler Watt? Well, a curse on you for asking. You should already know who Tyler Watt is. He's famous in his riding, I suppose. He is the MPP from the provincial riding of Nepean, which is the provincial riding that is underneath Mark Carney's federal Nepean riding. If you know Ontario politics, you know how silly this is. But this was actually posted by our prime minister at the same time serious leaders were down at Washington. Is it just you? Is there literally no sound to this at all? Yeah, I have my sound up. I think they actually uploaded a video with literally no sound of him sitting around and like drinking with people. Yeah, so that's what they did, and the actual post itself says, "Caught up with MPP, Nepean MPP Tyler Watt, Ottawa City Councillor David Hill, Wilson Lowe, and Sean Devine today. We're focusing on priorities like building more affordable homes and making the community safe here in Nepean, and we're working together to get it done. Except the Liberals will not get rid of Bill C-75, the soft on crime bill that allows people to get out on bail no matter what they did unless prosecutors bend over backwards to present to a judge that this person is a danger to the community, in which if it's a progressive judge, they can still just hand wave it away and say, I don't really care. I think they deserve a 17th chance. Tyler Watt is an MPP who isn't even in government. The Liberals aren't even the opposition. The Ontario Liberal Party is in third place. They're not even that far ahead of the Ontario Greens, who have 2 seats. This is embarrassing. I think actually the Greens may have not gotten a second seat. Do they? I don't care. It's irrelevant. He wasting time, meeting with Doug Ford, meeting with the new premier of PEI, going back to the Northwest Territories for the second or third time, and then now he's meeting with some random small-time MPP who has zero decision-making power on affordable housing, who has very little influence. I guess maybe he lost a bet to Tyler Watt, so he had to go get a drink with them. He had to buy him dinner. But this is what Canada's doing instead of doing anything serious. And now let's move on to our big gamble that we made on recognizing a Palestinian terror state. Oh, wow, aren't we special? We can recognize terrorists in the Middle East. That shows Trump and the Israelis. And yeah, people are going to be like, oh, they're not terror governments. In the West Bank, the Palestinian Authority, which is effectively a mini dictatorship out there, the military arm of them is Fatah, a terrorist group that pays people to kill people in Israel. I think that's a terrorist group. And then if you want to argue with me whether or not Hamas is a terrorist group in Gaza, be my guest. I will not read your comment regarding that because that's stupid. But we recognized the state of Palestine, which is run by 2 separate terrorist organizations, and it's paying the Liberals big, big dividends because they are currently being protested by the exact same people that they were seeking to please. I'm just pulling up this bookmark right here so we can look at it. Yeah, yet again, completely asinine that we waste our time doing virtue signaling nonsense like this. And the people protesting them are proud of it. I'm about to show you a footage of the Montreal Hamas supporters rallying around our foreign affairs minister, or I think it's something else, something to do with trade. Melanie Joly, the lady who dresses like she's in an advertisement advertising, pumpkin spice lattes. But Yves Engler here, who in fact is trying to run for the federal NDP leadership and is he's an anti-Semite. You can't really get any more overt than he is. He's like a communist anti-Semite. I guess a good way of talking about him would be calling him a national Bolshevik. He looks like Levente Beria and Joseph Goebbels at the same time. And he says 30 rally in front of Genocide Joly's house tonight, chanting, Joly, Joly, you can't hide, you support genocide, and Israel, terrorist, Melanie, complicit. And this is the group of people the liberals were trying to play to. And it's not working because they're crazy people.
Melanie, complice. Israël assassine les enfants de Palestine.
There's some weird crossover between people still wearing medical masks and people who like terrorism. And these idiots are still just protesting through the streets of Montreal, make it very clear how much they like people murdering others. And they're going after Anita Anand's house. I think our actual foreign affairs minister. And again, these are the people the liberals were foolishly trying to win by doing all of this stuff. They actually thought that this was going to work. Here is them outside of Anita Anand's house.
Free Palestine!
Literally in a residential neighborhood, and these people are so just in their own world, in their own activist crazy world, that they're here screaming at the lady's house after she gave them what they want. But they are just malcontent anti-Westerners, and they will not be happy until the people giving them what they want also end their own lives for the sin of being a representative of Canada and not being like a full-blown terrorist like Yahya Sinwar.
Free Palestine!
And by the way, they have that child on their sign saying that people are starving in Gaza. That child has like a severe disease, has a genetic disease that causes them to not be able to consume food very easily. They have brothers and sisters who are not starving, but these idiots don't actually care. They only care about spreading propaganda. Anything that is good for them, they will spread. And I don't have any doubt that Canada's decision of recognizing Palestine has to do with why Trump probably, if he was the one who made a decision to either not send us an invite or maybe it just slipped his mind because we don't really register very big for him. The reason that we were in part not invited is because of the Palestine decision, because he said that that was a great reason for him not to sign a trade deal with us because we are undermining United States foreign policy, of not wanting terrorists to have more power. In Canada, in the middle of a trade negotiation, decided to say, how about we give a bunch of terrorists power? How about we recognize them? This is Model UN, isn't it? We stand up when we say beautiful things. We say beautiful nothings into the ear of the world, saying, why can't we all get along? And we sing some John Lennon overrated song. And that is Canadian foreign policy. We let terrorists into our country. The public safety minister, Gary Anasangari, literally wrote a letter to let someone part of the Tamil Tigers come into Canada, vouching for him that, yes, he blew up those people, but who cares if he blew up those people? We let Khalistani terrorists wave swords in the middle of the streets while they promote terrorist acts in India. They promote actual people who would stab people to death in both India and blew up a plane in Canada. They have parade floats every year in Surrey, BC, that have Talwinder Singh Parmar's photo on it, a man who committed the biggest terrorist attack in Canadian history. We have tons of these people. We let ISIS terrorists back into the country. We let a bunch of ISIS brides back in, and we paid them to drink like Chardonnay and eat chocolate in like 4-star hotel rooms. What is going on? Oh, we were not invited? Well, it's because it was a Europe thing. That's why we weren't invited. Based on that logic, when would Canada ever be invited to anything? How often does a foreign policy issue have to do with North America? There legitimately isn't that much foreign policy stuff going on in North America. Canada is invited when it makes itself significant. Under Stephen Harper would be there because he was a big player. He's not in charge of the most powerful nation on the planet, but he takes Canada's power and he amplifies it because he's good at foreign policy. Justin Trudeau gets into office, and in 2015, he pulls our jets out of Syria who are fighting ISIS, and he sends a bunch of winter coats to the people who are about to get murdered because he's a fool. He's an idiot. And now we have Mark Carney doing the same thing, same idiotic things over and over again. But who am I to judge, guys? Who am I to judge? Maybe this is actually all part of the plan. It's elbows up or something. Well, that should be it for me today, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and I will see you guys later.